What if the conversation you long for is already unfolding in the theater of your mind, waiting only for your permission to become real? One evening, I settled into my favorite chair, the room around me softened by the golden glow of a lamp. I closed my eyes and felt a gentle curiosity stir within me. Rather than wondering if they would think of me tomorrow, I chose to feel as though the dialogue had already begun. In that simple shift from I hope to I know, a seed of certainty was planted deep within my consciousness. Each night before surrendering to sleep, I fashioned a private ritual. I imagined the contours of their thoughts as though I could trace them with my fingertips. Rather than picturing a distant, uncertain future, I visualized a living scene, their attention turning toward me, curiosity brightening their expression, and a soft smile tracing their lips. In this vivid mental cinema, I did more than witness a fleeting fantasy. I stepped into it. I allowed myself to taste the warmth of their focus, as though it were already mine. I soon learned that consistency is the lifeblood of manifestation. By returning to this nightly practice, I wove a tapestry of intention that grew richer with every repetition. No matter how busy the day had been, I honored those few moments in the twilight between wakefulness and dreams. In that liminal space, the subconscious mind is most receptive. It offers a fertile ground where imagination and belief coalesce. Here, your intention encounters no resistance, only the promise of realization. To deepen the impression, I infused my images with sensory detail. I felt a slight quickening of my heartbeat as I imagined them pondering my presence. I noticed the imagined texture of the air charged with anticipation. I even heard the echo of my name in the quiet corridors of their thoughts. By layering sensory richness onto my vision, I transformed a simple mental outline into a living, breathing experience. This richness invited my subconscious to treat the scenario as fact rather than fiction. The power of assumption lies in its ability to bypass doubt. When you assume a thing is true, your mind begins to work from that premise as though it were an established fact. You stop asking, will they think of me, and begin affirming, they are already thinking of me. This subtle change in language rewires your internal narrative. You feel a growing confidence that ripples outward, influencing your posture, your tone, and the energy you project throughout your day. I noticed that this inner confidence manifested in small, yet unmistakable ways. I carried myself with a lightness that invited interest. My conversations became sprinkled with genuine warmth, and I found myself more attuned to serendipitous moments. Those little coincidences that remind you the world is conspiring with you. Perhaps I'd bump into them in a hallway or find their name casually mentioned in a message. Each fleeting confirmation served as a breadcrumb, guiding me back to my nightly assumption practice with renewed faith. Of course, resistance would occasionally surface. Doubts like unwelcome guests would knock on the door of my mind, but instead of confronting them with force, I acknowledged their presence and gently redirected my focus back to the assumption. I reminded myself that every seed needs time to sprout. By treating doubt with compassion rather than combat, I maintained the integrity of my imaginative ritual. I let go of impatience and trusted in the timing of my intention. As days turned into weeks, the quiet power of assumption began to shape my outer world. Invitations appeared where none had existed, messages arrived out of the blue, and snippets of conversation revealed they had indeed been thinking of me. When this occurred, I didn't react with surprise. I responded with gratitude. I celebrated each sign as a testament to the inner work I had done. By recognizing these mirrored reflections of my nightly assumption, I reinforced the neural pathways of belief. Ultimately, this practice taught me that the mind is the master artist of reality. When you pick up the brush of imagination and boldly paint your desired scene, the universe provides the canvas. What begins as a private assumption blossoms into a shared experience. Each night as I closed my eyes, I knew I was not crafting a distant wish, but tending to a living dialogue already in progress, one that would naturally unfold in my waking hours. Have you ever marveled at the power of your own daydreams, only to realize they're doing far more than simply passing the time? One evening, I found myself lying on a grassy hill beneath a velvet sky, tracing constellations with my fingertip and wondering how I might bridge the silent gulf between two minds. Then it struck me. Imagination itself is the true telepathic transmitter, the unspoken signal that carries our presence directly into another's consciousness. When you learn to wield imagination consciously, you shift from passive fantasist to active creator. Instead of merely wishing someone would think of you, you step into the role of the architect of their thoughts. Picture an old-fashioned radio. Imagination is both the broadcaster and the receiver, tuning into the frequency of desire. If you allow yourself to drift into idle daydreams, the signal weakens into static. But when you focus with deliberate emotion, you beam a crystal clear message that resonates far beyond your own skull. I began by treating my mind like a film studio. I cleared away background noise, every doubt, every flicker of insecurity, and set the stage for a single vivid scene. I imagined their face appearing on a screen before me, their expression curious and warm. I held that image as if I were a director calling action. In those moments, imagination ceased to be a fleeting amusement and became a potent force, drawing their attention naturally toward me. To strengthen this transmission, I paid attention to the qualities that make mental signals memorable. Bright colors and bold contrasts stick in the mind more easily than bland tones, so I dressed my imagined scene in rich hues. The soft glow of twilight behind them, the flicker of candlelight reflecting in their eyes. I heard the faint echo of my voice, as though speaking from just beyond a veil. By filling in these sensory details, I transformed a sketchy thought into a lifelike broadcast that my own subconscious and theirs could hardly ignore. Emotion is the amplifier of imagination. If you merely imagine them thinking of you with clinical detachment, the message is delivered but without power. So I summoned a warmth deep in my chest, a blend of affectionate curiosity and gentle confidence, and poured it into every mental image. The sensation was akin to watching a sunset that both calms and exhilarates you. That emotional charge energized my imaginative broadcasts, making it impossible for their mind to mistake it for anything but a genuine invitation. I discovered that consistency breeds credibility. Early on, my attempts felt like sporadic radio pings, admirable but too brief to establish a clear channel. Once I committed to a daily practice, setting aside a few minutes at sunrise and another few before sleep, I observed a remarkable shift. The act of returning to the same imaginative scene reiterated my intent, like writing a letter over and over until its words sank into the paper. Over time, that paper became their subconscious, and the message I had written was read and reread until it felt as familiar as a favorite poem. Adversity provided my greatest lessons. On days when life's chaos threatened to disrupt my routine, I learned to adapt my practice to any circumstance. While waiting for a train, I would close my eyes briefly and replay my scene. During a lunch break, I let a single phrase echo, "They pause now to think of me." These micro practices reinforce that imagination need not be confined to silence and stillness. It can flourish amid the hustle of daily life. In teaching myself this flexibility, I broadened the reach of my telepathic broadcast. I also realized the importance of mental etiquette. Just as you wouldn't barge into someone's home unannounced, you must approach another mind with respect. My imagination became less about demanding their attention and more about offering a gentle invitation. I pictured a pause in their day, perhaps while sipping tea or standing at a window, and imagined dropping a delicate feather of thought that would land softly in their awareness. Framed this way, my imaginative efforts felt less like intrusion and more like a thoughtful gift that they could choose to unwrap. Finally, I learned to celebrate the echoes of my imaginative transmissions. Whenever I caught a glimpse of them thinking of me, a spontaneous smile in their direction, an unexpected text message, or a mutual friend mentioning my name, I treated it as undeniable feedback from the other mind. Each echo strengthened my confidence in the power of imagination as the telepathic link. I'd mentally collect these confirmations like stones in a pouch, returning to them whenever I needed reassurance that the broadcast was reaching its destination. In the end, what began as a simple creative exercise blossomed into a profound lesson. Our imagination is far more than idle play. It is the invisible bridge that spans the space between souls, carrying our unspoken intentions to others with astonishing clarity. By turning your imagination into a deliberate transmitter, rich in sensory detail, charged with genuine feeling, and practiced with consistency, you awaken the natural telepathy that lives within every one of us. Have you ever noticed how a simple thought without feeling drifts away like a paper boat on a vast ocean? But when that same thought is charged with emotion, it sails straight into another's heart. I remember lying awake one night, imagining my specific person pausing in their busy day and feeling a warm pulse of affection wash over them. In that instant, I realized that feeling is not a byproduct of thought. It is the signal itself, the very currency of telepathic exchange. I began by distinguishing between two kinds of mental broadcasts: the bare transmission of ideas and the radiant pulse of genuine feeling. It's easy to replay words in your mind. Think of me now. Remember our laughter. But without emotion, these words are like muted colors, lacking the vibrancy to catch attention. Feeling, on the other hand, is a living hue. It vibrates, it resonates, and it leaves an imprint on the listener's soul. When you learn to pour your heart into your mental images, you transform an abstract wish into a palpable invitation that another mind can't help but receive. To cultivate this skill, I created a simple daily exercise. Each morning, as soon as I woke, I closed my eyes and took 3 slow, grounding breaths. With each exhale, I released any lingering tension, worries about the day ahead, doubts about my own worthiness, even a habitual skepticism that often seeped in unconsciously. Once my mind felt clear, I gently brought to life a scene where my specific person thought of me. But I didn't just see their face. I felt the warmth of their thought as though it were a gentle hand resting on my shoulder. I noticed the soft surprise that fluttered across my chest, the light swelling of gratitude that followed, and the comforting sense of being seen and known. These sensations became the backbone of my practice. As I repeated this exercise, I discovered that emotional authenticity is essential. If you try to fake enthusiasm or force a feeling you don't truly have, the broadcast crackles with inauthenticity and fades before it reaches its mark. Instead, I learned to reconnect with genuine sentiments, gratitude for past moments shared, anticipation of joyful reunions to come, even a tender compassion for the ways we each navigate our own challenges. By anchoring my imaginative scenes in real emotion, I sent a signal that was not only powerful, but also deeply human. Feeling also serves as an amplifier of intention. When you visualize another's attention without emotion, it's like whispering across a crowded room. But when you breathe feeling into your vision, joy that dances in your veins, affection that radiates from your heart, confidence that steadies your spirit, it's as if you're speaking through a megaphone, impossible to ignore. I noticed that the more vivid my emotional transmissions became, the more spontaneously I experienced signs of their thoughts. An unexpected message, a sudden memory, a coincidental mention of my name. Each of these moments felt like an echo returning to me, affirming that my feelings had found their way across the invisible bridge between us. There were days when doubt threatened to overshadow my efforts, moments when I questioned if they would ever think of me, if I had the right to occupy their mind, or if my practice was simply wishful thinking. In those times, I leaned into gratitude to rekindle genuine feeling. I reflected on small blessings, a shared laugh, a kind word received, the way their presence once warmed my day. By reviving authentic gratitude, I replenished my emotional reservoir and sent clear signals. Gratitude, I found, is not only a powerful feeling in its own right, but also a gateway to deeper emotions of love, respect, and joy. I also discovered that the body is an amplifier of feeling. When I practiced my exercise lying in bed, I felt warmth pooling in my chest. Later, I stood in front of a mirror and allowed my face to reflect the emotion I was cultivating. Soft lips curve into a gentle smile, eyes shining with hopeful expectation. By aligning my physical expression with my internal feeling, I created a coherent signal that resonated through every layer of my being. The congruence between mind, heart, and body made the transmission unmistakable. To sharpen this alignment, I paid attention to spontaneous moments throughout the day. If I caught myself smiling at a fond memory, I let the warmth linger and whispered silently, "This is the feeling I send to you." If I felt a flutter of anticipation about an upcoming interaction, I tuned into that excitement and imagined it flowing directly to their heart. These many practices reinforced the importance of feeling as the telepathic signal and seamlessly integrated the skill into my ordinary life. Over time, I noticed a beautiful reciprocity unfolding. The more I infused my thoughts with genuine feeling, the more naturally their attention returned to me. It was as though my emotion created a gentle gravitational pull, drawing their thoughts like leaves carried by a soft breeze. And each time their mind turned toward me, I met it with gratitude, savoring the moment as though I were touching their consciousness directly. This cycle of sending and receiving transformed my practice from a solitary ritual into a shared ballet of hearts. What I came to understand is that feeling is not an optional flourish, but the very essence of telepathic connection. It bridges the gap between intention and manifestation, between imagination and experience. When you learn to feel in your mental broadcasts with sincerity, consistency, and bodily congruence, You awaken a natural channel that aligns both minds in harmony. It's not about control or manipulation. It's about inviting another to share in the warmth of your own felt experience. Have you ever felt that prick of doubt, like a sudden chill in your chest, threatening to undo all the momentum you'd built toward connecting with someone? I remember one evening when my heart raced with anticipation as I imagined their mind turning toward me, and then, almost instantly, a nagging thought whispered, "What if this is all just wishful thinking?" In that moment of uncertainty, I felt my intention wobble, as though the very bridge I was building between our minds might collapse under the weight of a single fearful thought. That's when I discovered the transformative power of mental revision. Revision begins the moment you notice a critical or doubtful thought arising. Instead of wrestling with the doubt or surrendering to it, you simply pause, acknowledge its presence, and then gently guide your attention back to the scene you originally imagined. Picture a film reel in your mind. You're the director, editor, and actor all at once. When a frame shows fear or insecurity, you don't berate yourself for it or cling to it. You press rewind, watch the moment again, and then replace that shaky scene with one of clear confidence and triumph. To practice this, find a quiet moment, perhaps at your desk during mid-afternoon break, or tucked beneath the covers just before sleep. Recall the last time you felt genuine connection in your imagination. Their eyes lighting up, a soft smile, the sense that they were genuinely thinking of you. As you replay that memory, notice any glitches, moments where doubt or second-guessing slipped in. When you see them, mentally pause the scene, extract a fragment of fear and discard it like an unwanted page from a script. Next, rewrite the scene with precision. Imagine yourself standing in your own power, shoulders relaxed, gaze steady, voice silent but resonant. Feel the warmth of their attention as if it were a gentle breeze against your skin. Let every detail align with the reality you wish to create. The exact curve of their smile, the tone of curiosity in their imagined voice, the soft rustle of whatever they're doing as they pause and think of you. The richer and more detailed your revised scene becomes, the more convincingly your subconscious, and theirs, will accept it as truth. The real magic of revision lies in consistency. It's not a one-off trick, but a daily habit. Each time doubt creeps in, whether during your practice or in an unexpected moment, you have the opportunity to revise. Maybe you catch yourself worrying that they'll never respond or fearing that you're imposing on their thoughts. The instant you feel that twinge, stop, breathe deeply, return to your crafted scene and play it forward without interruption. Over days and weeks, this rewiring of inner dialogue gradually replaces insecurity with unwavering belief. Emotion is the linchpin of effective revision. If you simply swap out negative frames with neutral ones, the change will feel mechanical and lack staying power. Instead, infuse your revised scenes with genuine feeling, the warmth of affection, the lightness of playful curiosity, the gentle swell of gratitude that they would even consider you. Feel these emotions in your body, the subtle rise in your chest, the relaxing of your shoulders, the soft smile tugging at your lip. When you embody the feeling fully, your mind and body present a unified signal that resonates far more powerfully than thought alone. It's also helpful to keep a brief revision journal. After each practice session, jot down a few lines about the scene you created, what you saw, what you felt, and how the revised version contrasted with the original, doubt-laden memory. Over time, this journal becomes a tangible record of your progress, a collection of moments when you chose belief over fear, intention over uncertainty. Reviewing these entries on days when confidence feels thin can remind you of how far you've come and reinforce the habit of proactive revision. Revision isn't about denying reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that your internal landscape shapes your external experience. By choosing to revise moments of doubt into scenes of clarity and confidence, you're not ignoring challenges. You're equipping yourself to face them from a place of inner strength. Each time you rewrite your mental script, you send a clear message to both your own mind and the mind you wish to connect with. This is the path we're walking together, bright and unwavering. As this practice becomes second nature, you'll find that old patterns of self-doubt lose their grip. The moments when you once allowed fear to ripple through your intention become opportunity points for transformation. You'll catch fleeting doubts and almost automatically replace them with a vivid scene of connection you've rehearsed so faithfully. What began as a deliberate exercise grows into a seamless flow of belief, keeping the bridge between your minds solid and radiant. Have you ever caught yourself replaying a conversation in your mind over and over and noticed how each replay subtly shifts the outcome? I remember once lying awake at night, turning a simple greeting into a grand rehearsal of self-doubt. What if they found me boring? What if I sounded foolish? By the time I drifted to sleep, the warm spark of connection I'd hoped for had flickered into ashes of maybe. That restless night taught me a crucial lesson. The true dialogue that shapes our reality happens in the quiet chambers of our own thoughts. Every thought you entertain is like a pebble dropped into the pond of your consciousness. The ripples will spread far beyond that single moment. If you allow worries, complaints, or negative judgments to echo within you, you're effectively broadcasting a lifeless channel to the world. But when you choose empowering, uplifting conversations, you paint your inner landscape with vibrant hues that naturally attract the very experiences you desire. To cultivate constructive inner conversations, start by becoming the curious observer of your mind. Throughout your day, pause occasionally and ask, what story am I telling myself right now? Notice the tone. Does it carry enthusiasm or anxiety? Is it dripping with self-criticism or humming with possibility? In many moments, our inner dialogue runs on autopilot, replaying outdated scripts that no longer serve us. Recognizing these scripts is the first step toward editing them. Once you identify a limiting narrative, perhaps a fear that they're not interested or a doubt that your intentions are too bold, you can deliberately rewrite that thought. Replace "they probably forgot about me" with "they're naturally drawn to thoughts of me," or swap "I'm too awkward to capture their attention for my unique presence shines brightly in their mind." These simple shifts in phrasing may seem small, but they carry the power to reorient your feelings, posture, and energy, aligning your whole being with the positive reality you wish to inhabit. Language is the key tool in this process. Words have vibration, and the words you speak within yourself send electromagnetic signals throughout your mind and body. Pay attention to the verbs you choose. "I will receive" feels more alive than "I might get," and "I am confident" breeds more strength than "I hope I." Craft affirmations that resonate with your heart's truth. Then weave them into your daily routine. Whisper them under your breath during quiet moments. Write them on a sticky note by your mirror, or carry them like talismans in your pocket. Emotion gives your inner conversations their backbone. When you affirm "they are thinking of me," don't only repeat the words, feel them. Imagine the warmth of their curiosity as a gentle glow in your chest. Sense the pleasant flutter that emerges when you realize someone's attention is naturally gravitating toward you. By pairing words with genuine feeling, you broadcast a clear, resonant wavelength that aligns your subconscious mind and ultimately shapes the world around you. Your inner conversations also set the stage for how you interpret external events. If you've trained yourself to expect indifference, you'll likely overlook spontaneous signs of their attention, a fleeting glance, a friendly message, or a coincidental mention of your name. But when your inner narrative celebrates connection, you become adept at recognizing synchronicities. Each subtle acknowledgement becomes evidence that your chosen dialogue is weaving itself into reality. Creating a daily check-in ritual can reinforce this practice. Take a moment each morning, perhaps with your first cup of tea, to engage in a brief internal dialogue. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel today? And follow it with statements like, I am magnetic. Their thoughts naturally come to me, or connection flows effortlessly between us. Speak these words aloud if you can. The sound of your own voice adds another layer of conviction. Then carry that tone into your interactions, knowing that your inner script is actively guiding your outer experience. Over time, you'll notice a transformation. Your mind becomes a fertile garden where seeds of doubt wither and blooms of confidence flourish. Your posture grows more open, your smile more genuine, and your presence more magnetic. As your outer world begins to mirror your inner conversations, you'll see that the person you wish to connect with doesn't just think of you occasionally, they feel naturally drawn to you, as though an invisible thread has been woven between your hearts. Have you ever noticed how the moments just before sleep feel charged with possibility, as if the boundary between your inner world and the vast unknown grows thin? I remember tucking myself in one evening, the hum of the day fading into stillness, and feeling a gentle tug of anticipation. Rather than letting my mind wander through old to-do lists or lingering worries, I chose to turn that precious liminal space into a sacred workshop of intention. I settled into a comfortable posture, took a slow, deliberate breath, and let my eyelids grow heavy as I invited the scene I desired into my mind's eye. In that quiet ritual, I imagined the exact moment when my specific person paused in their own day, perhaps folding laundry or scrolling through messages, and felt a soft surge of curiosity about me. I pictured the subtle shift in their expression, eyebrows lifting ever so slightly, shoulders relaxing, lips parting in a gentle smile. I heard the echo of their name, as though spoken by unseen lips, resonating in the stillness between us. By staging this vivid mental performance each night, I wasn't merely casting a wish into the void. I was rehearsing a living, breathing connection that my subconscious mind would recognize as real. To deepen the experience, I wove in sensory textures. I felt the smooth cotton of my bedsheet against my skin, the faint warmth of a bedside lamp, the soft rustle of evening breeze through an open window. I savored the imagined sensation of their attention, like a feather's brush on my arm, and let a gentle rush of gratitude swell in my chest. This interplay of sensory detail and heartfelt emotion transformed a simple mental picture into a multi-sensory tapestry that resonated far beyond a fleeting daydream. My mind responded to its own richness by treating the vision as fact, and in turn it began to shape my waking reality. Consistency became the heartbeat of my practice. No matter how rushed or restless I felt, I honored those few minutes each night as non-negotiable. I set a soft reminder on my phone, tucked it face down so the light wouldn't disturb me, and promised myself that I would not scroll or think about anything else until I completed my ritual. Over weeks, that gentle commitment strengthened my conviction. Even on nights when fatigue threatened to steal my focus, the ritual itself soothed my mind, guiding me away from random anxieties and toward a calm, purposeful state. What began as an experiment soon became the anchor of my evening routine. I also discovered that the act of recording the ritual enhanced its potency. After each session, I kept a small journal by my bedside lamp and jotted down a few lines. The exact moment I visualized, the sensations I felt, and any subtle confirmations I noticed during the day. An unexpected text, a chance encounter, a fleeting thought of me in someone else's mind. This journal didn't need eloquence. Bullet points were enough. Over time, flipping through those pages became a powerful reminder of how my nightly practice was weaving itself into real life. It turned the ritual from an exercise of imagination into a documented journey of co-creation. Perhaps most transformative was the gentle patience I cultivated along the way. There were nights when the ritual felt dry, as though I were reciting words into an empty room. Rather than berating myself, I acknowledged the lull as part of the process and simply returned to my breath. I reminded myself that seeds take time to sprout, and that each night's ritual was depositing intention beneath the soil of consciousness. By meeting the quieter, less fruitful moments with compassion rather than frustration, I preserved the integrity of my practice and allowed belief to blossom naturally. Have you ever paused in the middle of your day and suddenly felt a spark of recognition? Perhaps a passing thought, an unexpected message, or even a fleeting smile from someone across the room that made your heart skip a beat. Those moments, as subtle as a whisper, are the breadcrumbs of attention left by the mind you wish to connect with. I remember one afternoon lost in work when my phone buzzed with a single word. My name. No greeting, just my name. In that instant, I felt the gentle tug of their consciousness reaching out, and I knew my unseen intention had touched their mind. Learning to notice these small signs requires a gentle shift in awareness. Instead of rushing from task to task, begin weaving moments of mindful observation into your routine. When you walk through a park, sense the softness of the breeze, but also remain open to the soft stirrings of connection. A stranger's glance that lingers a heartbeat longer, a bird's song that seems timed to your thoughts. These everyday miracles are often the universe's way of reminding you that telepathic resonance isn't an abstract theory, but a living dance between minds. To refine the skill, I started keeping a simple confirmation log. It took only a few lines, the date, the sign I noticed, and a brief note about how it felt. For example, May 1 afternoon, received a text with just my name, felt warm surprise in chest. Over time, this log became more than a journal. It was a mirror, reflecting the subtle harmony unfolding between two minds. Reviewing these entries on days when doubt crept in served as a gentle nudge, a reminder that each small sign, however trivial it might seem, was part of a larger tapestry of connection. Importantly, recognizing these signs isn't about stretching for coincidences or forcing patterns where none exist. It's about cultivating a receptive state of mind that is alert to the synchronies already at play. When you expect to find evidence, you naturally scan your environment with curiosity rather than skepticism. A sudden memory of a shared joke becomes a wink from the other consciousness. A random song on the radio feels like a personal serenade. These moments need no embellishment. They simply ask that you acknowledge their presence and welcome their confirmation. Each time you notice a sign, pause and celebrate it, no matter how small. Say a silent thank you, let a smile spread across your face, or place a hand over your heart. That act of gratitude does more than increase your joy. It reinforces the telepathic loop. You're effectively telling your subconscious, yes, I see this. I trust this. Please continue. In the same way that applauding a performer invites an encore, honoring these tiny confirmations encourages your mind to deliver more. There were days when the signs were so subtle, a quick flash of their image in a daydream, a familiar cadence in someone's laughter, or the sudden arrival of a message from a mutual friend. Early on, I might have brushed these off as random, but by training myself to look more closely, I began to recognize a pattern. My mind shifted from doubt to expectancy, and almost like magic, the signs increased in frequency and clarity. It felt as though the other mind was leaning closer, eager to meet me in this shared space of attention. I also learned that signs can appear in unexpected forms. One morning, a newspaper headline seemed oddly relevant to something we joked about. Later that week, the scent of a particular flower drifted past me, invaluable because I had once given them that flower. These subtle echoes taught me that the mind doesn't always communicate through direct clues. It also speaks in symbols, metaphors, and sensory triggers. By remaining open to these varied languages, I discovered that confirmations could blossom anywhere. To deepen this practice, I began pairing each sign with a brief internal mantra: I notice and appreciate your attention. This simple affirmation served as a bridge between observation and intention, weaving the sign into my gratitude habit. Each time I noticed a synchronicity, I whispered this mantra mentally, letting it resonate through my chest. This ritual not only amplified my receptivity, but also subtly communicated back to the other mind, I see you and I honor your focus. Over weeks, the accumulation of these small moments created a profound shift in my inner world. I moved from a state of anxious hoping, wondering if they might think of me, to a grounded certainty that our minds were in active conversation. My posture relaxed, my energy softened, and I noticed an effortless magnetism in my interactions. People seemed more drawn to me, as though I were carrying an invisible light. And each of these interactions, no matter how brief or casual, felt like further confirmation that my telepathic bridge was strong and alive. Recognizing signs of attention also nurtures patience. In our culture of instant gratification, we often expect grand gestures or immediate results. But telepathic connections unfold in delicate rhythms. Learning to celebrate a single word text or a random memory as a triumph of consciousness teaches us to value the small and the silent. These gentle moments build a foundation of trust and anticipation that supports the larger experience you wish to create. My personal tip for you is to designate a small bowl or jar as your echo vessel. Each time you notice a sign, no matter how minor, write it on a slip of paper and drop it into the vessel. At the end of each week, take a moment to read through your echoes. You'll be amazed at how a handful of slips can reveal an intricate pattern of connection you might have otherwise overlooked. This simple practice transforms fleeting moments into a tangible testament to the living telepathy between you and your specific person. Have you ever paused for a moment and felt a sudden swell of thankfulness, as though your heart itself whispered, "This is enough"? I remember one morning, sunlight spilling across my windowsill, when I lay still and let my mind drift over the simple blessings of my life. Warm tea, a friend's laughter, the memory of a tender glance from my specific person. In that instant, I sensed something profound. Gratitude isn't just a reaction to good fortune. It's the very foundation upon which our desires take root and blossom. I began by making gratitude the first note of my day. Before my feet even touched the floor, I closed my eyes and let my thoughts settle on 3 things I genuinely appreciated. One day it was the softness of the sheets around me. Another day, the unexpected kindness in a stranger's smile. And often it was the idea that someone somewhere might be thinking of me with the same warmth I felt. By starting each morning with this quiet ceremony, I anchored my intentions in a fertile field of appreciation rather than an anxious scramble for results. With this habit in place, I noticed my inner atmosphere shifting. The mind that had once wandered into doubt and fear now lingered in a landscape rich with possibility. I understood that when you approach manifestation from a place of lack, I want this because I don't have it, you broadcast neediness into the world. But when you begin from gratitude, I have this and I'm grateful, you send a tone of sufficiency that resonates like a clear bell. This tone becomes the broadcast signal through which your telepathic connection naturally flows. To deepen the practice, I kept a simple gratitude journal on my nightstand. Each evening I recorded 2 fresh items, one drawn from my outer world, a compliment received, a moment of peace, and one from my inner world, a thought of connection, a flash of joy. Over weeks, my pages filled with tiny miracles that I might have otherwise overlooked. As I turned these pages, I saw a pattern emerge. The more I noted my blessings, the more the world responded with new ones. And I felt my specific person's attention weaving through those small wonders, like a thread of light. I discovered that gratitude and telepathy share the same language, feeling. When you feel deeply thankful, your body relaxes, your chest opens, and your mind invites connection. In that receptive state, telepathic channels widen. I practiced feeling gratitude for the imagined moment when they would think of me, feeling it as if it were happening now, not someday. I pictured their thought as a warm breeze brushing against my skin, and I matched it with a breath of thankfulness. That exchange of feeling became a silent conversation, richer than any spoken word. Integrating gratitude into daily tasks turned each chore into an opportunity for co-creation. Washing dishes became a mindful dance, each plate a reminder of nourishment. Walking to work became a meditation on fresh air and the soft rhythm of my footsteps. And always, I wove into those routines a thread of thanks for the unseen mind I was connecting with. In doing so, I transformed ordinary moments into telepathic way stations, points where my intention and their awareness met in the shared space of gratitude. There were days when impatience still tugged at me, urging me to abandon these small rituals in favor of dramatic leaps. Yet I learned that true change is built through gentle consistency. Even when I forgot my morning journal or skipped the nightly entry, I could pause mid-afternoon and whisper a quick thank you for something simple, a leaf drifting down, the scent of rain, a memory of a kind word. Each pause reset my energy, restoring the frequency of gratitude that kept my telepathic connection alive. As my practice matured, I began to notice signs of reciprocity. A friend would mention my name in a conversation, or I would receive a message from someone I had barely thought of. Rather than dismiss these as coincidences, I greeted them with gratitude. Thank you for this echo of their mind. Celebrating these signs multiplied them as though my appreciation amplified the feedback loop between my heart and theirs. It felt like tending a bonfire. Each spark I honored became fuel for the next. Ultimately, anchoring your desired reality through gratitude teaches a profound lesson. What you appreciate, you attract. When gratitude colors your inner world, it transforms from a static list into a living field of magnetic energy. Your specific person's thoughts find their way to you not because you forced them, but because your heart and mind resonated with a frequency they naturally align to. In this dance of thanks, both you and they become co-creators of a shared experience rooted in appreciation. My personal tip for you is to create a small gratitude altar on your bedside table. Just a candle, a notebook, and a pen. Each morning and evening, light the candle. Write down one thing you appreciate about your connection and silently feel the warmth of that gratitude pulsing through your being. This simple ritual will serve as a daily reminder that the power of your intention is magnified when it rests on the steady foundation of genuine thankfulness. Personal $1 million tip. And now, as we draw this journey to a close, remember that the true power of connection rests not in grand gestures, but in the silent symphony of your own consciousness. Each evening's assumption, each vivid imaginative broadcast, each gentle act of revision, every heartfelt feeling, every thoughtful inner conversation, the sacred nightly ritual, the attentive noticing of tiny signs, and the steady current of gratitude, all of these are threads you weave into a living tapestry of telepathic rapport. By embracing these practices with patience and compassion, you transform your mind into both the transmitter and receiver of an unspoken dialogue that transcends space and circumstance. You learn to treat each doubt as an opportunity to refine your script, each emotion as the signal that bridges two hearts, and each moment of gratitude as the anchor that holds your intention fast. Trust that this invisible bridge strengthens beneath your very awareness. Lean into the simple rituals that align your thoughts and feelings with your desired outcome, and watch as the world responds in kind. Soon you will find their attention drawn to you as naturally as dawn follows night, quietly, irresistibly, and without force. Carry this knowledge forward with gentle confidence. Allow your imagination to speak, your feelings to sing, and your gratitude to glow. In doing so, you won't merely hope to be remembered. You will become an ever-present melody in their mind, played softly on the strings of telepathic connection.